As a child, I grew up in a small southern Missouri town just north of Ozark mountain range. There were about 10,000 people living there, and for the most part, they pretend to keep to themselves. It was weird mentally if you have never ran into often the South. During the summer, the following of my second year of elementary school, all that would change. This town, there was only one provider for television. It was an old cable provider known as Ozark Cable, which served southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. It was broadcasted 10 channels, and given that the satellites wasn't available within 100 miles from town, I had to make the best of it. The only children's programming available was Tom and Jerry reruns, which broadcasts out of Little Rock on Saturday mornings. Needless to say, my options for cartoons weren't particularly extraordinary. At the beginning of my summer vacation, following second grade, my family received a notice from Ozark Cable and about 10,000 residents in town. The statement noted that a new high-tech broadcasting station was to complete construction just north of town. In addition, my town will be able to receive 30 new channels, including Nickelodeon. As I was excited as any child my age would be as hell, I would have finally be able to get to watch new cartoons anytime during my week. During the third week of summer vacation, the broadcasting station went operational, and my small town finally entered the digital stage. Static no longer interrupted regular programming, show-up lines no longer switch without notice, and of course, I finally had Rocco's Modern Life. Overall, it was a pretty happy 7-year-old kid. That's when it started. I heard that first from one of my friends. Apparently his parents had been watching late night entertainment around midnight or 1 in the morning when a sporadic interfaces in the broadcast began to occur. Images of an eyeless man flashed onto the screen for 10 seconds at a time, accompanied by startlingly white loud noise. Apparently it was loud enough to make my friend up. Unsettled, contacted the cable provider and notified them about the incident, and were subsequently told that it would be looked into. However, the problem persisted. Eventually, it became so frequent that it widespread throughout that town that many parents actually prohibited me from watching any television between midnight and dawn. Not that I was interested in doing so anyways. Soon, no one watched any late night television, and there were rumors of television sporadically turning on the displaying the eyeless man, seemingly to reach out towards the viewer. They were just rumors. One Thursday morning, while my dad was at work, my mom needed to run into town and pick up a prescription from the local pharmacy. Normally, I was forced to accompany her on our daily expedition to the town, but after begging to stay home and watch a new episode of Ren and Stimpy, she surrendered and left to do her errand. After sneaking a few cookies, I sat in front of the TV and waited for the episode to begin. The episode began as usual with the catchy theme song and glimpses of the antics of the characters. Then the picture went black. You could only see image how enraged I was. I had been waiting all week for this new episode, only to have the channel go out. After parading around the TV room in a fit of childhood frustration, I sat in front of the television and waited for the broadcast to resume. A brief spark of static appeared on screen, and I was eager for anticipation for the episode to resume. Images of decomposing and disemboweled bodies filled the screen, accompanied by ear-piercing screams that filled the house. I immediately ran out of the TV room, but not before looking back at the television. A man with bloody holes for eyes seemed to approach the screen with this vivid, decaying arms stretching out, and I hid under the dining room table and began to sob hysterically. In my fit out of nauseated terror, I vomited onto the floor. When my mother came home, she seemed to jump back at the noises that consumed the house, and immediately dropped her bags and pulled me out from under the table. I was hysterical, and my face was pale with fear. Before I could answer my mother what was going on, she entered the TV room. The screaming stopped, and she unhooked the television. When I finally told her what happened, we heard a knock on the door. It was my friend and his parents. He was sobbing and was holding his face against his mother's shirt. They experienced the same thing I had. Everyone in town did. Almost immediately, local law enforcement became involved due to the nature of images. After a week of no television and sleeping in my parents' bed, the local police department issued the statement. It wasn't a conclusive as we have wished, but about 5 months before the original notice into regards to new broadcasting center, Ozark Cable bought a piece of land that belonged to a long and abandoned sanatorium and on-site burial ground. In addition to demolishing the decrepit building, over the 200 bodies were exhumed and were cremated, without warrant to make room for miles of underground cables. Ozark Cable was immediately fined, with its owner prosecuted. After 3 months of legal battles, the cable company eventually shut down, with only satellite television taking its place soon after. The source of the images remain unknown, and it is unknown how the broadcasts even happened in the first place. And that, my little pretties, was the Ozark Cable incident, a creepypasta. My final thoughts on this story. I honestly really gotta say, this story was definitely one of the good lost episode creepypastas. And I mean, this storyline of it and all is actually really well made. Now, I've heard, the first narration I've heard was from Mr. Creepypasta, but I know, Dave the Useless narrated this story, and I mean, a lot of other people actually narrated this story. Like, a whole bunch of people actually sat there and narrated this story. I mean, there's a lot of Creepypasta narrators that did manage to sit there and, narrate this story. Basically, they said it was a pretty interesting story in a sense. Now, I really gotta say, this story, honestly, even though it's like a reality creepypasta, I can honestly see this happening and being the case. Like, I really have to sit here and say this right now. Like, I believe this story might be true, but yet again, I'm not really sure if it were to be the case, because that's actually been something I've been wanting to, know is if this actually were to happen. I mean, it's pretty interesting, and it always gives a pretty good concept for it. Like, I like the setting of it. The story seemed to have a pretty good concept for it, and I mean, this story honestly was very well written. It actually provided a pretty good concept. I mean, I really do like how, this incident that happened that involved, something really messed up in general. I mean, holy hell, when I watched this story was definitely creepy, but it was definitely a really good story that gave me the chills. It's, to be completely fair, I've seen other stories like, that did good like this, so, but I mean, this story was definitely something. I'm not going to deny that one bit. This story was pretty good. I really liked it. I honestly found it was a pretty good concept. I do like how well made this story really is. So, I guess with that being said, I'm going to sit here and say right now, to the author of the story, if I happen to find out who the author of the story is, I'm going to sit here and say, you did an awesome job with this story. And I'm going to leave this as anonymous for now until I can find, the original author of the story. Since I can't seem to find out who the original author of this story is, I'm gonna leave it as anonymous for now until I find out who the original author of the story is. So until then, I'll be able to give the author proper credit once I find out. Anyways, that being said, this is just simply my own personal opinion. And if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of the story is a flat out 10 out of 10. Great concept. It was really neat. I do like the storyline behind it all. And this, I don't know if this, I should call this a Nickelodeon pasta or something, but I guess I'll just call it a creepy pasta because it's a really good pasta, actually. I really do like it. It's not cliched, no cheap jump scares or anything like that. Just a well made story. So, anyways, with that being the case, and with that being said, what did you guys think about this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me now what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're new to this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.